Hello guys, it's David Wolf. Um, I'm making this video with intention, to give you an update and to talk about that ball and chain of the pharmaceutical, you know, the big pharma, the meds we are put on in rehab. So, in short, this March 15th will be 11 years since I got into CVRC and Comox into rehab and never touched a needle or any of that again. 11 years. Almost 3 years ago, I stopped taking methadone, which I was on for many years. As everyone knows and is, finally went down to nothing and then transferred to Suboxone. Back then, I think it was like 8 milligrams, and started tapering down. Now I'm down to one, one and a quarter pill. So 2.25 milligram, I guess. One pill is 2 milligram, and about 1.5 milligram of clonazepam. So I'm down to the ones, down to the end. Over 2 years sober now. So great results, great recovery. I'm grateful. But I want to talk about that very last step, which is a very hard one for someone who's been, I was an addict for 20 something years, 11 something clean, 3 years of methadone, down to 1 milligram or 2 milligrams of Suboxone, 1 of clonazepam, and a long journey. But it gets very hard at the very end, and I want you to know that, especially after a very long journey as an addict and a recovering addict. When you're at the very last milligram or two, taking that quarter pill off every few days as you keep tapering down gets very difficult, gets more and more difficult. Suddenly you feel and you experience the exact same things we did long ago during cold turkey withdrawals, for example. The cold sweats, the migraines, feeling like, you're not within your own skin, the insomnia, the irregular eating and sleeping takes a toll. A second, I'm gonna press something here. Do not disturb. So the only wise thing to do is to do it very slow and gradual. Literally with the razor, take a little bit, tiny, sliver off every other day. And always consult your doctor. This is a point where usually they send you to a detox center or hospital and you're watched, or, inpatient program. But I'm doing it at home with my wife, with friends, on a little island in a nature setting at home. And, that can be hard and challenging for your partner. So that needs to be addressed as well. You know, it is important for my wife to know and educate herself on what someone like me might be going through so she can respond in a proper way. You know, Al-Anon and other type of counseling and programs that are available to people who live with recovering addicts, for example, as it rubs off on your personal life and relationship. When you're extremely tired, fatigued, have migraines, are sleeping long, or not sleeping at night, um, not eating properly, going through that what feels like cold turkey withdrawal again. So you have to take it very, very easy at that very end. Otherwise, you throw yourself into withdrawal by accident, not breaking a pill in half, but just shaving pieces off at a time. You know, you think that after everything I went through and where I got, that it is a success, it is over, it's amazing, all that. But it really reminds you how powerful those meds are and how much you have damaged and strained your body when you're down to the minimums, when you start feeling everything again, and when you try and really stop and take a little bit too much from your daily dose. Those pharmaceutical drugs will mentally and physically come at you and demand more, you know. That's why we do it gradually. It is a very powerful energy, you know. Like I always believed that opium has a spirit. Those certain things have spirits. And that mind, that addict mind, is usually always at it, trying to damage and sabotage and destroy your body, your heart, as it wants more and more and more as you give it less and less and less. Literally, it asks for it, physically and mentally. When I am often sick nowadays, as I'm doing this taper thing, and I am determined to get it over with, I'm switching to diazepam from clonazepam, for example, in a couple of days, as it's a way more milder version of the benzodiazepine. And again, very slow taper, but systematic. And I, for example, have been on benzodiazepines for over 20 years for many reasons. The addictions, the anger management, um, for high blood pressure, for insomnia, extreme anxiety, and so on. And if you know anything about benzodiazepines, you know that being exposed to it for so long is very, very bad for you. You know, not only can it trigger such brain diseases as, what was it, dementia, but, you know, my muscles and my bones are disintegrating, literally. You know, I am all bone and muscle, but not strong, fat muscle. No fat around my hips and legs and shoulders and elbows. And that means a few things. One, it's not protecting my bones. When I get hit or strained, it's very easy to break or dislocate or hurt my bones. You can easily break them. And, you know, it hurts sitting, lying down, walking around. You need that muscle, you need that fat. So the diet, while you're going through the end of your journey and walking into a healthy life, has to do a lot with your diet, a lot of fats. I try to eat a lot of fats and sausages and bacon and fish, and there's very good diets out there, and it's necessary to do all that and even pressure yourself to sleep during the night, not during the day. Push yourself a little bit to go for a walk or two a day. Push yourself to do things even though you're feeling down, you know. And I used to always respond to anger whenever I get upset, and I have very, high tendencies. I get upset easily and loud. First thing I'd always do is go and take a pill, Valium, right? Yeah, the chill pill. And I have stopped doing so over a month ago, actually. And no matter how angry or upset or depressed or sad I get, I no longer go to that battle and I no longer take that pill. As a matter of fact, I have been taking less. I'm not doing that anymore. So we get stronger and stronger as we keep walking forward. And just as a reminder, as I always said from the beginning of my journey, and when you scroll down, you'll see how messed up I was. That we get brave a couple of times throughout that journey in the darkness before we enter the light again. First, when we decide to quit whichever substance is killing us and go into rehab, check yourself in, period, over, done. That's a big decision. And the second one is when you go to your doctor and tell him you want to start getting off these meds, period. And you do it. I used to be on 120 something milligrams of methadone, 8 of Suboxone, 60 of Valium. I no longer take methadone, down to 2 milligrams of Suboxone, 1 of clonazepam. So that is strength, that is bravery, and that all comes from you. No one else can do that for you, just like me a month ago stopping that habit of always, every time I get upset, like people who smoke, first thing, light a cigarette or drink. I go to my container and grab a Valium and lie down and chill. I no longer do that. I broke that pattern. No longer do that because it's important for me to show my doctor that I have actually taken less. I am not short. I am taking less. And I have a drive to do so. And I know she will help me as she is a very good doctor. So you have to do it all for yourself. No one can walk this path for you. But it would be great if you were mindful so that your partner, for example, or whoever you share your life with, could be there for you in a good way, but with healthy boundaries, protected with knowledge. There is a lot of sources out there. For example, the Denman Hornby Outreach is doing an event this week. We're going to go out this Wednesday to see a few people I used to work with and talk about getting some type of support or knowledge that we can provide to my wife, for example, and others about how to live with someone either going through addiction or going through recovery or going through withdrawal, the last steps, or what a withdrawal is like, what the experience is like. These are very important things to know. You yourself, I would like to know, whatever I'm doing, what it is I'm doing, where I stand in everything I'm doing. And so it all goes both ways, you know. So my message today is that the battle is not over till it's over. And believe me when I say that it gets tremendously hard at that very last step. The first rehab clinic I ever went to, I believe it was year 99 or 2000, 99, was called First Step. It was in Scarborough, Toronto. And this is the last step. This is literally the last step. It took that long. I was at the First Step clinic at their doorway in 1999. And I am at the last step now. At the CVRC Comox. And very grateful to the staff, to the doctors. No need to name. And keep walking forward, brothers and sisters. I know I've kind of been absent on this channel a long time. I used to make videos on a weekly basis in the very beginnings and the middle of my journey. I have gotten a hold of myself and I became stronger, so I started getting involved in more than outreach, starting helping the masses, this nation, this country, and standing up in their resistance, for example, against all sorts of corruption and globalism and injustice against our own people. You know, like the unhoused society being in record highest numbers ever in history in our country. Like that fentanyl and crystal meth, toxic drug overdose crisis being the #1 killer. People abandoned by the systems that are here to protect them, our own citizens. So I've taken upon myself to go a level higher and represent the nation. So I've been standing with certain people to do so. And I've gone to the city hall, my friends in Courtney, and they have zero in plans for the unhoused society. They try to say they do, but they don't. They have no plans, nothing to show me, and nothing to combat that crisis, except for putting up walls around the encampment by the Connect Center across from the City Hall, so that people no longer have to see what goes on in there, which I believe is wrong. That's denial, that's refusal, that's closing your eye on reality. It will affect us all, so we have to be involved in some way or another to do better. So my friends, keep walking that red road, as the Native Americans call it. That good, healthy, compassionate, kind, gentle, mindful path, not the destructive, not the self-seeking, not the addictive. Don't let that wandering mind destroy your body and the heart. Rather listen to the body and the heart and let go of outside energies like that programmed mind, the addict mind. We can overcome it all. And it really helps to have someone by your side, like my beautiful wife. But it is also very good to keep them in a safe place. Safe place, that meaning, you know, in the knowing. Explain as much as possible. And we will go and seek out that help. Like Al-Anon. where people who live and try to understand their partners going through these things gather. Much love, everyone. Keep fighting for your freedom. The natives also say no one can make or walk your path for you. You have to walk it and make it for yourself. You can walk with others side by side, but no one can make or walk your walk for you. Know how to stand alone and strong, but when to come together and seek help and seek knowledge when time is right. And never give up. I always said, remember in my videos, always keep walking forward, never back. Even if a half step a day, really, it's no big deal. It's a step ahead. Do not make a half step back even. Just step forward, 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 and I guarantee you that you will cross what I call a line of no return. There's no way you could get me to drink. No way you could get me to cook up a fix and put it in my arm. No freaking way. You'd have to, knock me out, tie me up, and force. And then it'd be hard. So anyway, hold your strength. Hold that wisdom. Stay close to the doctors. Always let them know how you're doing, and remember that the power is all within you. Like the saying goes, all gods, heaven and hell lie within us. And we have the power and ability to heal. Naturally, it's how we're designed by the Great One. One love.